What you need to know now? Is this the end of the world? No, but it is the start of something we need to keep our eyes on. There's been a major outbreak of the scariest fly on planet Earth. Now, on to the terrifying tale of the screwworm fly. Okay, so unlike your average housefly, which simply annoys us by buzzing around the house and landing on our picnic lunches, the screwworm fly is actually dangerous and has even caused panic in some circles. This fly is native to Africa and parts of Asia, where people eat a lot of fermented foods like bananas and mango. So they're used to digesting some pretty strong stuff. But here in North America, screwworms are considered invasive, and the USDA is working hard to contain their spread. The good news is, there haven't been any human deaths caused by screwworms, but that doesn't mean these flies aren't dangerous. Stay tuned because we're going to tell you everything you need to know about the screwworm. Crisis including how they lay their eggs inside living animals, how they affect humans, and most importantly, what you can do to stay safe. Okay, so let's start with a description of the fly itself. Screwworm flies are large, ranging anywhere from 8 to 12 millimeters long. With their bodies measuring roughly the same length as a honeybee, they are gray and black with bright red or orange legs and a pair of horns on top of their head. Screwworm larvae are what make these flies truly terrifying. Because these little worm-like parasites can grow up to 3 inches long. They're white or yellowish in color and somewhat resemble a maggot. Screwworm females lay their eggs in the open wounds of warm-blooded animals, including mammals and birds. In some cases, screwworms have even been known to chew through the skin to lay their eggs. And once the eggs hatch, the larvae feed on the host's living tissue, before moving on to other hosts to lay their own eggs, starting the cycle all over again. Now, the reason this is a problem is because the screwworm fly is resistant to pesticides, and they reproduce quickly. The female screwworm fly can lay up to 400 eggs in its lifetime, meaning that a single pregnant fly could theoretically lead to thousands of screwworms in a matter of weeks. So what exactly are the symptoms of a screwworm infection? Well, that depends on whether you're a human or an animal. For animals, screwworms can cause a wide range of symptoms, including fever, anemia, and difficulty breathing. The larvae can also cause severe pain and swelling around the areas where they've laid their eggs. And as they grow larger, they can even start to consume the host's internal organs. In severe cases, the screwworms can eventually kill the host. As for humans, well, fortunately, there have been no recorded deaths caused by screwworms. However, that doesn't mean that they're not dangerous. Screwworms can cause a number of unpleasant symptoms, including pain, itching, swelling, and redness around the affected area. They can also lead to secondary infections if the affected person scratches or picks at the affected area. And while screwworms typically leave humans alone, they may become a problem if they decide to lay eggs in or near a person's eyes, ears, or nostrils. In these cases, the screwworms can cause serious damage to the affected person's hearing, vision, or sense of smell. And yes, the idea of these things laying eggs in your eye sockets is kind of terrifying. But don't worry, we're going to tell you all about what you can do to protect yourself. But first, why should you care about screwworms? What's the big deal? Well, for starters, screwworms are a threat to both human and animal health. As we mentioned earlier, screwworms can cause serious illness and even death in animals. And while they don't typically target humans, they can cause painful and potentially sight-threatening infections. That's bad enough, but it gets worse because screwworms also pose a threat to our food supply. Screwworms are known to infest and destroy crops such as corn, cotton, and tomatoes. And they can also contaminate meat products if they re-allowed to lay their eggs in animals that are raised for slaughter. Not to mention the fact that screwworms are a potential bioterrorism threat. It's possible that the eggs or larvae could be used as a form of biological warfare, either intentionally or accidentally. During the Vietnam War, U.S. military personnel reportedly considered releasing screwworms in Vietnam as a form of biological warfare, although it's unclear if this ever actually happened. Screwworms were also released in South Africa during the apartheid era as a form of sabotage against the South African military. So it's clear that screwworms are a serious threat. But luckily, the USDA is working hard to prevent them from spreading. So what can we do to protect ourselves from these creepy crawlies? Well, it's important to take certain precautions if you live in an affected area. Here are 5 things you can do to protect yourself and your loved ones from screwworms. First, avoid contact with sick or dead animals. This is especially important if you live in an area where screwworms are common. If you do come into contact with a sick or dead animal, be sure to wash your hands thoroughly in cold, soapy water. Second, wear insect repellent when you're outdoors. This is a simple but effective way to prevent screwworms from laying eggs on your skin. Be sure to use a repellent that contains DEET or picaridin, as these are the only two ingredients that have been shown to be effective against screwworms. Third, cover up when you're outdoors. Wearing long sleeves and pants can help protect your skin from contact with screwworms. And fourth, inspect yourself and your family members for ticks after spending time outdoors. Ticks are a common way that screwworms are transmitted to humans, so it's important to check for these little parasites after a day at the park or a hike in the woods. Finally, seek medical attention if you think you may have been infected with screwworms. Early treatment can help prevent the infection from getting worse. The USDA has developed a 5-pronged plan to combat screwworm spread. It includes surveillance and detection, treatment and removal of infested animals, quarantine and movement control, public education and outreach, and research and technology development. The USDA says it's still too early to tell if the screwworm eradication program is working, but the agency is confident that its plan will eventually be successful. So it looks like the USDA is on top of this situation. But it's still important for us to be aware of the screwworm threat and take steps to protect ourselves. So be sure to share this video with your friends and stay tuned for more updates on this scary situation. So I want to thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.